Hello everyone and welcome to SMB Capital. My name is Alex and I'm going to show you how this trade started and ended in the Forex using the Australian dollar and the US dollar. This particular trade started using H4, knowing that our 619% areas levels of support got penetrated. Then we were looking for our next one, which is level 1 of our Fibonacci. So in this case, knowing that it has actually reached levels of support in H4, then we go into smaller frames to find a loan setup so we can actually bet on this level of support for possible rebounds. Now going into H1, we have found ourselves into a setup in which it started from 1.0450. In this case, since we are coming from an H4 view, we will need to find a smaller level of support to get kind of a precise entry on this trade. So like I said before, H1 we find our setup, then we go into 15-minute chart to identify the precise entry using our levels of support. So identifying this trade from H4, then moving into H1 to find the setup, and then actually going into 15-minute chart to find the trigger of it. What was the actual trigger of it? As I mentioned even before, we use support levels of our Fibonacci 619% area. In this case, the uptrend started from levels of support coming from 4H, then moving into smaller frames to find and to have this a trigger into the trade by using the levels of support. So we trace our Fibonacci, find the levels of support at 619% area. We execute the trade, having a precise entry coming from a micro view, going into the small frame for the trigger. A stop loss is basically at level 619% and level number 1. Just in case it gets penetrated, then we look into levels number 1, and then we also have some sort of a cushion for any fakes and going into reversals. More or less, this entry was a perfect entry. Not much of negative on this trade. Then having a clean uptrend to reach 100 pips on this trade. How do we find ourselves into the target? First off, we since we found it in H1, we go back again to it. We also find ourselves with a market cycle at prices of 1.0575. Since we find ourselves in H1 with market cycle with executed trade, avoiding any pullbacks to the downside, finding ourselves with an entry starting from H1, coming down from H4 to find levels of support, then H1 for setups, and then 15 minutes to find smaller time frames and also the trigger for a precise entry. Precise entry on 15-minute chart, exit at H1. This is an example of how we use macro views and then coming down to smaller frames for a perfect entry. If you have any other questions, feel free to email me at azalazar@smbcap.com. I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.